What are we doing?
Today, yet another American community is in shock and grief after yet another American mass shooting.
But allowing all these shootings to become normalized is a crime against the American people.
This only happens in this country and nowhere else. Nowhere else do little kids go to school thinking that they might be shot that day.
It seems beyond belief that I am a member of Congress who has now overseen 2 school shootings in her district in 15 months.
Number of injured, we are using the number of 515.
In the Newtown, Connecticut shooting.
Or on the Parkland, Florida school shooting.
3 kids died today in Nashville, Tennessee.
17 people were killed during a mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
Because my daughter has no voice. She was murdered last week.
This is a timeline of mass shootings that have happened inside the United States. Every blue dot represents a mass shooting in which 4 or more deaths were involved. Data reveals that after 2010, mass shootings took place around 64 days apart on average. In contrast, before 2010, we would hardly see a mass shooting every 200 days. The data that was used to create this timeline doesn't include deaths that were a result of gang violence and domestic violence.
Before they even know the facts, the first thing they talk about is taking guns away from law-abiding citizens. And that's not the answer, by the way. So,
On this topic is Stephen Terrett.
We hope to regulate their behavior so that they'll always act kindly and prudently with the guns that we've placed in their hands. There are many laws that regulate the use of guns. Our efforts to regulate the behaviors of these people once we've given them the guns have not been terribly successful. In fact, my assertion to you this morning
This was a morning in 1999.
is that they've been failures.
By doing something, we at least stop sending this quiet message of endorsement to these killers who see the highest levels of government doing nothing.
Instead of regulating the behaviors of the manufacturers with regard to the distribution of guns, we have more than 30,000 new grave sites every year in the United States from people who've died by gunfire.
So, if we've identified gun distribution to be one of the factors leading up to an increase in mass shootings, what's standing in the way of changing gun laws? What's holding politicians back?
The origins of the NRA, the National Rifle Association.
The National Rifle Association.
That have been bought and paid for by the NRA.
Pro-gun groups and gun enthusiasts.
The NRA.
Where lawmakers are more concerned about their contributions from the NRA than they are about the lives of their own constituents.
Did the early founders of the NRA recognize the organization today in 2020?
Oh, not at all. It became a political organization. Early on, most laws said that you couldn't fire or shoot a rifle within a quarter mile of the town. So those were the early gun laws. Those evolved mostly into carry laws. That's really the modern beginning of gun control as we know it. The second thing I would say is that in the 1950s and 60s, the NRA officials said that they did not want to be a partisan organization. That would be a disservice to the NRA and to the American people. However, today, as we know, they're very closely intertwined and bootstrapped to the Republican Party.
Say that you will bend over backwards to protect children in schools, but pour money into the gun industry and give firearms to our teachers and staff members instead of giving them the money for pencils and paper.
Politicians in this chamber that have been bought and paid for by the NRA, that put profits over people, over human lives.
Scared and frustrated. Scared because we live in a country where just about anyone who wants a gun can get a gun.
gun violence is the #1 killer of children under 21.
Frustrated because we have been here before, and we've been here before too many times.
This isn't inevitable.
In an ideal world, the 21st graders and kindergartners who died in Sandy Hook would be in middle school today.
It is likely that at this moment, the next mass shooter is planning their shooting.
What are we doing?
What will this chamber do about it?